Hi guys, and welcome back to another ITH Podcast, where today we are joined by Sideways Sid.
Hello there.
Sid, how are you?
Yeah, good.
Good. Tim and I were chatting the other day, and we thought we wanted to get you in mainly because all we do is watch videos of you sliding cars around, and we're like, we don't really know much about Sid. Who is Sid? Where's he come from? What's he doing? What cars has he got? That kind of thing. Like, what's he? Has he got a job in his spare time? I guess let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Where did your love of cars come from?
Oh, it came from ever since I had a brain to develop to see cars, really. Parents were out on the road, always did road trips. Family was into cars, dad especially, workaholic, doesn't do anything apart from just see cars. So I sort of grew the development from there. And then over time, just loved everything. Toy cars, movies of cars, grew an obsession. Just, that's all it is. I'm a sad person.
I don't think you are. I think the reason why everyone's listening to this and watching these kind of podcasts is because we all love cars.
Yeah.
We're all massive petrol heads. Or, as some people on the podcast we've had before, love electric cars.
Yeah.
Great electric podcast that we did a few weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. It was good, wasn't it?
I did, get some bit of information out there. It was a very informative podcast.
It was, and I loved some of the comments that people wrote. I'm never moving away from petrol, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, fine. Okay, so cars have been with you throughout your whole life. And of course, I suppose as soon as you started driving, you were like, oh my God, this is amazing. What was your first car?
My first car was a VW Up.
Was it?
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Yeah, so it was a VW Up, and I don't know, I'm trying to say stuff without getting into trouble, really.
No. Well, it's all on private roads.
Yeah, ish. Well, I had that for a couple of years, and that was a high up, 75 horsepower.
Right.
And
nice.
Loved it.
Not even three figures. Love it.
No. But 5-speed manual. It was a cool little car. It was just a cool first car. Just wanted something cheap and not to get something on a black box. So it's like you either have a nice car, like a Polo or a Golf, but then be banned with a black box. In which case
you wouldn't be able to have that, would you?
No way. Well, I wouldn't have a license, really, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Or just have a really slow car with no black box. So I had that. And it was a new car at the time as well, which now I don't. Well, they're relatively new, but it was a car that I ordered. It was the first car I ever ordered. And
so your first car was a brand new car.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting
Switch.
Sid to be like, or like an old 205 battered or whatever. But you're like brand new Volkswagen Up. I was like, fair play.
I know, it's really sensible. I wanted like a Saxo at the time, but just where I live in Essex, well, half of them are all in trees, and just can't find anything decent.
The other half are burnt out at the side of the A127.
Yeah, exactly. Like most of them are. Or a 106 GTI, same philosophy. So I wanted something old and French, but at the same time, I just got something German. And I grew a love with that Up because it wasn't fast. It wasn't like the best handling car. It rolled around a little bit. But it was one of those cars that you could just get the most out of it with all of that power. And I just drove around like a complete yob in that thing. But no one sort of knew that he was driving like a yob. You could just hear this 3-cylinder thrumming away on the red line, and it was just driving extremely slowly. It's almost. And then you couldn't turn the traction control and stability control off. So I remember Googling that and then ended up pulling the fuse. So I pulled the fuse out. Lots of warning lights came up on it.
Right.
And then, lost ABS as well completely.
Oh.
I didn't know that until I hit the brakes once. Where a tractor pulled out and then it just locked up, and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And then just pulled a handbrake, luckily. So that was my first car.
Right.
And I loved
and you
it.
obviously enjoyed it.
Yeah, loved it. I mean, it sounded like an old 911, which kind of got my obsession with Porsches earlier on.
Okay,
So
well, we'll come on to that. But it's
amazing.
amazing, isn't it, how much passion you can have for your first car, whatever that first car is. Like, for me, it was a really, really old, I think 900 and something cc 205 Peugeot. Nice. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. As you say, like, you have your fondest memories in that car. And, I mean, did you have any accidents in the Up?
No.
There you go. So neither did I
accidents.
in the 205, actually. I was quite lucky. But it's always when you move on to the next car, that's usually when things start to get a little bit more interesting because you're pushing it a little bit more. You've probably added a few more cc. What was your first car?
Well, my transition was quite a nice one because it went from a Rover 416 GTI.
Wow.
No, it was the old saloon. Had a sport pack, so it had a spoiler on the back, which was nice.
Right.
But it was an auto.
Okay.
But that was the old 1.6 Honda, 123 horsepower thing.
Oh, it was a joint development.
It
with
was.
Honda, yeah.
It was a really nice thing, but it fell apart quite a lot and almost tried to kill me on a few occasions. But I sold that, and then I went from that front-wheel drive automatic Rover. That's when I then went straight into a Mazda RX-7 FD.
So your second car was an RX-7?
That's a jump.
Was a
That is a bit of a jump.
340 horsepower twin turbo rear wheel drive Mazda RX-7.
And you didn't bin it?
No, I binned it once.
Oh, there you go. I knew it was coming.
Binned it once on the you probably know the road going through Basildon, Cranes Farm Road.
Yes, I know that
Yeah,
very well.
there's a big. It's near Dub Customs actually. There's a roundabout there, and there's usually lots of diesel on it, and it was very wet. And I went on the roundabout and went, oh no, and I was just a passenger at that point, and just went up and into a hedge.
I spun my Cayman R there.
Yeah,
Backwards
exactly.
Twice.
Exactly.
Every morning.
It makes me feel good about myself. See?
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
So, second car.
Second car. Well, it was an interesting one because I loved my Up and I didn't want to get rid of it. But my mum at the time, my dad surprised my mum with an Evoque because she was obsessed with Evoques. So my dad surprised her with it, and he thought, hang on, at the time she had an X5 40D of the previous generation. And he thought, hang on, if I surprise her with an Evoque, I can then have the X5 and then buy an M5. And that failed miserably. Absolutely miserable. She was just like, no, I don't want it. And then at the time I was a teacher, teaching kids at a tuition, but I was in like A level, so I was like sort of teaching kids. So it was sort of my first job. Bad job, but it was, a job. So then at the time we had it, and then it was like, well, either you have it, but you got to pay for it, but it means getting rid of you Up. And I went,
Quite like the Up.
I quite like the Up, but I'll have it. So I had it. I'm one of these guys. I always live beyond my means. So all the money I had, I just went on this Evoque, and I had that for a year. And you know what? It was actually all right.
Yeah?
It wasn't too bad. It was a dynamic diesel,
Okay.
and it had the bucket seats like you get in the Jag
Yeah,
F-Type.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
Which is a
quite
rare
like
option.
the Evoque.
It's
I'm
a cool car.
Yeah, and
Was it a 3-door or 5-door?
5-door.
Oh, right.
It was red leather, gunmetal grey on the outside, gunmetal grey wheels.
That sounds quite nice.
It was all right. It was running on off-road tyres, so you can make it move around a little bit. It drove like a...
The only person who's,
matter,
who's trying to get an Evoque sideways.
Yeah. Pulled a fuse out on that one as well. And it was an interesting... It drove like a big Fiesta, which it was really engaging to drive. But at the same time, this was 2013. It was a pretty popular car. Everybody wanted an Evoque. There was just waiting lists at the time, and they were going for a premium. So in the end, when I got rid of it, I actually made profit, which was the only car I ever made profit, and that was it.
well, talking about cars that have kind of held their value, if we skip forward a few years, or probably not even that, but when did you buy the GT4? So you've got a Porsche GT4.
Cayman, yeah.
Yeah, it came in GT4. When did you get that?
So, well, the one I'm driving now.
Did you have one before?
I had one before. I had a black Cayman GT4.
Okay.
The obsession started when, at the time, I was working with Dub Customs, and we went out to do some stickers for Shmee 150. And Tim, at the time, had a Cayman GT4. And he was doing a few skids in it, and then he went, why don't you jump in and have a few skids in it? And I went, yeah, all right, I'll have a go in it. Drove it, and then just drove around sort of the outskirts of the Nürburgring, and then just completely fell in love with it. And that was the first one, the black one I had. And it was going for a premium at the time, like a big premium, like nearish 100 grand.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was just stupidity. It was just, I'm going to find a GT4. I don't care what it is. I just want a GT4. Found this GT4. Had no nav. Had no Bluetooth. It was just the most POV spec car on Northern Irish plates. It was just a dodgy car. Like,
really?
Yeah, it was dodgy. And
did you pay well over for it?
Yeah, well over. To the point where it was like, right, I need to get rid of this quick. In which case, it went.
Right.
So that went, and then came back into one a year later, which was.
So were you just missing it so much that you just want another one?
Yeah, just wanted another one. Just wanted another one. At the time, I struggled to keep it, like afford it. It was more of everything. All my money's going out, and I might have 100 quid left just for fuel.
Yeah.
Just to drive it, which won't get you far in a GT4. And then a year later, after few other cars. I was back in another one. Yellow Cayman GT4.
Which is the one kind of, I suppose, everybody knows you for now.
Yeah, that is the car that everybody knows me for because I've done quite a few stupid stuff in it.
And how many miles have you managed to put on that? Because you seem to drive it a fair bit.
Yeah, I've done... Well, you say that, but I don't think I've driven it quite a fair amount, if I'm honest. I've done 4,000 miles in a year now.
Oh, that's
over
that's
a
not
year.
Much. Yeah, okay.
It's not much, but if I'm going to go out for a drive, I want to go out for a proper drive. I don't want to drive it to the shops because it's not really that type of car. You don't want to drive it in London. It's manual. The clutches are quite heavy, and it just scrapes everywhere. It hasn't got nose lift. So if I go out for a proper drive, I want to go out for a proper drive. So like a drive to Goodwood or Arena Essex on a drift day, which is not where you find a Cayman GT4 at all.
No. I've seen some of the videos that you put up, and I'm just like, this is insane. Where did the love of, I suppose, car control come from? Because quite a lot of people would get in a car and go, we'll leave that stability on, we'll leave the traction on because the manufacturers have put that there for a reason, whereas you're pulling out fuses to try and make these things, do things that they probably weren't really designed to do. I mean, maybe in respect the GT4 was kind of designed as a bit of a car, but most people are trying to get quick lap times. You're just trying to go sideways everywhere.
Yeah.
Where did that kind of obsession come from?
So in my teens, so when I was like 14, 15, YouTube was growing into like Evo. Evo was, at the time doing lots of crazy videos. And I was just obsessed of cars going sideways because you'd watch a Top Gear film, whether it was Clarkson, Hamilton, May actually driving the stunt drives, you just see this car in action, how it handles. And handling's got nothing to do with the way it drifts, but because it looks so cool on camera, it just looks pretty. But where the obsession really came from was the Chris Harris videos. That's what actually ended up that's how I started my channel, because it was just the obsession of just watching Chris Harris on cars when he was on YouTube at the time.
Yeah.
And you just watch him pulling these stupid angles in a car and you just think, this is cool. This is so cool.
So where did you, and this is a very dangerous question for me to ask, but where did you learn how to drive as well as you can drive?
So
I'm guessing there's a bit of trial and error.
There's trial and error, mostly error.
Right.
A lot of error. But most of it, I started off in a safe place, was on a game, on a PlayStation.
Oh, really? Okay.
So I literally had a steering wheel, Gran Turismo at the time, and just learnt to do skids. And then you just, and watching Tiff Needell power slide tricks.
So it is possible to play, you're right with your coffee, Tim? If you listen,
It's just
by
enormous.
The way, Tim has this huge, massive, great Starbucks
massive.
coffee.
I've been drinking it for the last half an hour. It's incredible.
I'm surprised you're not bouncing off the walls. Is it finally finished?
It's done now.
He's finished his
I'm done.
coffee. Congratulations.
I'm now awake.
So it is possible to play PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, with a wheel and actually kind of understand and learn car control.
Yeah,
a bit.
to get the basics. Obviously, fear factor and that stuff doesn't exist. You can't
Yeah.
just hit replay in real life and just go, oh, I've just crashed and died.
Yeah.
Or just start again. You can't do that, but you can get the basic sort of techniques done. So learning to catch a slide, learning to understand the car.
Do you get enough feedback? Because I find if I am driving aggressively and I'm kind of provoking the back to go out a bit, do you get that enough on a game?
You can. You sort of
Right.
have to judge it. I mean, racing games now have just come such a long way, and I'll never forget when I drove a 458 for the first time, and then driving a 458 in a Gran Turismo game. And I remember saying to a friend of mine who was helping me film at the time, this drives literally like the one in Gran Turismo, and I'm not like
Really?
joking, like seriously. So you do get that sort of feedback, and you just
That's
think,
cool.
holy crap, this is it is pretty much surreal. But obviously,
So if you're playing PlayStation, Xbox, whatever, and you've got a wheel and some pedals,
just
you're
start it
actually,
out.
Yeah, you can learn.
That's
some
a safe
real
way
stuff.
of learning.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you need budget and going out, and
course.
there's not a racetrack every corner and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So start.
It's a
off in
very,
game.
very cheap way of
It's
kind
a
of learning
very
a bit of
cheap way
car
of doing it.
control.
Yeah,
And
literally.
well, it's funny. I mean, Nissan do it, don't they, for their driver academy thing? They start people on PlayStations.
Yeah, well, the current he's one of the GT drivers, Jan Marlborough, I think his
That's
name
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's right.
because he started out by winning the GT Academy, which is they start out and they whittle people down on PlayStations.
Yeah.
And they go through that whole process, and then you eventually get into a car, and it's like a full-on competition.
Yeah.
And that was years and years ago, and he's now full-on Le Mans driver.
Le Mans driver.
Do you still play games?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Literally every now and then when I get a bit of time, just love going on, just play play PlayStation, have a bit of a laugh. That's sort of where my route started. So yeah.
So you started on the games, and then one day you went, well, let's just take this to the road and see what happens.
Yeah.
And what did happen?
I got behind the wheel at a very early age. So I managed to get my mistakes out way before I had a license.
Right.
And I just started out with parents' cars. Not really cars that you should drift in at all. And
Just anything with a handbrake.
No, not even
that.
Just some wheels. That's it. Really.
It's quite interesting. Like I see the way you drive, and I'd love to be able to drive the way you do in your videos. You really do. When you go into a corner, if you want to slide around that corner, you really do kind of throw it back to basically just unbalance the car.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. It also depends on the car, because some of the cars that I've tried to do pull angles, a lot of them really don't like it. So a few weeks back, I had my hands on a Audi RS3 Saloon, a car that everybody famously goes understeer, and they do understeer for a little bit, and it's not that bad. And we thought, let's just do it. Let's try and skid it. And you just sort of have to, a car like that, you can't do it under throttle because it's a Haldex four-wheel drive system. It's quite front biased. So it's one of those cars that you sort of have to do lift off oversteer or just Scandi flick it, like literally a rally drive technique. And I remember just going in first go, on the brakes, quite fast into a corner, camera guy in the corner as well, all waiting for it. And we thought, is this going to understeer? Is it going to be one of these calls where I phone up Audi UK and go,
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, really sorry. Or are we actually going to make it? And it just went out completely, absolutely out. And nice. I just went, wow, that's really cool. And then, so it's one of the, I try and take cars which don't like sliding and slide them. So even Porsche GT cars, they're not really cars that you meant to slide, they're track weapons. But it's just nice to take something that's not meant to do it, and then you try and do it.
Well, I mean, I can remember the first time I drove a GT4. It was up at we went up to see Dean at Redline, and he let us loose in a GT4. And I just remember going around the first roundabout, not literally hardly any throttle, just come off the roundabout, and I ended up literally going round the roundabout twice, just completely sideways. Not really by any means that I wanted to, just because it kind of happened, and I went, oh my God, amazing. So I just gave it a little bit more throttle. It was so perfectly balanced.
It was giving, but it was allowing, because I was in the passenger seat, it was allowing you a good half an arm of lock.
Before it even does.
Before it was chipping in with, and you were just like,
yeah.
No, I wasn't in the car. I was following. I was following in a 458.
But I wasn't even, I didn't even mean to let the back end break away. It just, with cold tyres, it just wanted to slide about. It was just like, I just want to slide about.
I presume it was running slicks at the time. So when they're cold, literally, you just have a little bit of a play.
Yeah.
And they are sweet on the limit. They only get a little bit nasty when, if it's a hot summer's day and the tyres are really sticky, and then you really have to then throw it into a corner.
Oh, really? Yeah. It does actually provide a lot of grip.
Yeah, a lot of grip. They are sticky on a hot day. But on a cold day like today, brilliant. Just slide it about. It's brilliant.
Well, we'll talk about what car I might potentially buy next year in a second. So with that, then we've gone from, I suppose, your first buying of cars to starting to slide around your parents' cars. I'm sure you've had a few offs.
Oh yeah,
what's been some memorable offs?
It will always be the first one.
Right. What was the story behind that?
So my mum at the time had a brand new Merc C-Class. This is 2011.
Yeah, God.
Brand new. And my parents aren't really like normal parents. They sort of just go, right, can you just move that? And they don't really care about whether you have a license or not. Just do it. Just move it. Could you just move it out of the way? And I'm like, all right, cool. And at the time I was playing Angry Birds and I was reversing out, and then I thought in my stupid mind that if I did a J-turn out of the driveway, it'd be all right.
So where did Angry Birds come into this?
I was sort of halfway through Angry Birds, paused.
To drive a car?
Right. On the phone to a mate, and then said, hang on 1 minute. And then just randomly, bizarrely decided to just do this J-turn on the driveway, which ended up going across the street, into next door neighbour's driveway, into their house.
You actually hit their house?
Yeah, went in their bedroom. Went in their bedroom.
What?
Yeah, completely. Yeah. It was
You're not taking the mickey. This is a true story.
No, this is true.
And at this point, you were how old? Or should we not say?
For legal reasons.
No, I was 14.
You're 14.
Yeah, I
You
was
did a
forced-
J-turn in your mum's brand new Merc and you went
Yeah.
into next door's bedroom.
a day old, yeah.
And I'm guessing
That
in
is-
terms of damage, quite a bit
Yeah.
for both the bedroom and the car.
Well, the car wasn't too bad, actually. A lump of 4x2 went straight through the windscreen. Literally.
As you do, you have one of them in your
Yeah,
bedroom.
of course. But it must have been an A-frame in the house. I don't know where it came from, but I
Oh
just
my god, so
remember...
you hit it hard.
I hit it pretty hard. Like, kept my foot in it. And just kept going. And I don't know
to
what...
J-turn the car, you've got to have some speed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
that
yeah.
you would have known that already, but I'm guessing
Well,
you just
yeah,
hoofed it.
I sort of seen videos online and I
love
thought,
that.
get up to speed, flick it, but then the distance...
Here, Mum, watch this.
Yeah, well, watch this. Bang, literally. And
what was the aftermath of that then? Like,
well, it got repaired,
right.
but
What, both the car and the bedroom?
yeah, the
Yeah,
bedroom,
right.
the car. I got a bollocking.
I'm
I
sure.
got such a bollocking.
I don't think my mum would never let me out in a car again in my life.
Well, they kept letting me out afterwards. They sort
Right.
of just went, you made a mistake. Well, no, I got a bollocking
I love that. Oh,
afterwards.
you made a mistake. Like I'd get a, oh, you made a mistake if you accidentally hit
No,
a cricket ball through a greenhouse window.
No,
you
it-
ploughed into someone's bedroom
No,
in
there
a
was
car owned
there
by
was
your
a
mum
lot
that
of
was a day
effing and-
old.
There was a lot of effing and blinding, and it still goes on to this day when we sort of have an argument and go, "Remember when you went straight through that house? You, yeah, literally." So it still goes on to that day, but yeah,
Okay.
that was bad.
Yeah, that's a memorable off. That's a good one to start on. Any others? I'm sure there's loads. Pick out maybe one other of your favourites.
My absolute favourite one was last year, where no, it wasn't last year. It was this year, and we had some really bad snow during March, February time.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was in a Merc V-Class bus, and
Right.
we had some really bad snow. It started to snow early hours of the morning, and this dual carriageway was snow white. Literally, you wouldn't have known it was a dual carriageway. And there was me flying down at 50 mile an hour, la 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 la, snow hailing down, like everything. And then all of a sudden, I forgot that there was a roundabout. So you know Dukes of Hazzard?
Yeah.
I swear to you, that's just what
You just went
happened.
straight
Yeah,
up.
straight over. But it was just a big explosion of snow. Like a massive explosion of snow. And then I sort of landed. Luckily, the van was all right. Everything was okay because the snow sort of softened the effect. If it was literally no snow, I would have just broken wishbones and bumpers and it would have just been really terrible. But as I landed, I'll never forget it. There was a gritting lorry and there was these guys sort of getting ready to grit the lorries and there was a couple of them. And they just looked and I just went... morning and just went on. But that was sort of a, I was completely oblivious. I just thought la li la li da, and then just sort of went over and kind of just went, oh, we just jumped. But that was bad. That was a
little yeehaw and off you go.
Yeah.
that was like a 2-ton van in the air
nice.
over a
Well,
roundabout.
that's good, I suppose. Yeah, you're saying that it didn't do any damage to the van because they're designed for heavy
Heavy loads, I
duty
suppose.
work.
Yeah,
aren't they?
exactly. So
there's rear suspension, front suspension. It'll be able to take a decent
yeah, it can
knock
take.
like
Yeah,
that.
if it was a car, it would
it would have
nasty.
been one of those things where you stop and all the wheels fall off.
Yeah, one of those ones. I suppose the next one wasn't. It's not exactly a crash, but it was one of those ones that sort of gained a social media popularity because I still have a Fiesta ST, and I thought it'd be cool because you see it in like Motor Trend and Evo, these jumps of Jeffro Bogdan jumping a car, and I thought,
I know the video you're referring to now.
I went, I could do that, and there was this private road. I think it was private, and there was this little hump, and I thought,
That's
I'll
enough.
jump.
Yeah.
I'll jump it. So I got a few mates around. I said, could you just like get a shot of that? And he went, all right, cool. So I went over at 60, and then just
Built your way up.
built my way up to a speed I won't say, to the point where it did go up in the air, and it was in the air for quite some time. And as it landed, sparks, and literally, at the time I wasn't happy. I said, no, we need to do this again. My
Well,
mate-
even after the sparks?
Yeah, even then I wasn't satisfied. I was just like, no, we need to go faster. We just need to go faster. And then my mate's like, you can't go faster. I said, what are you talking about? Shut up. We need to do this again. I went, no, you literally can't. And I went, why? And then I looked and I just went, there was oil all over.
No. Well, did you hit the sump or something?
Yeah, I hit the sump. Yeah, I punctured the sump.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was
That's going back to what I was saying, I suppose. Some of the things you do with these cars they're not quite
no,
designed.
they're not
for
designed
that.
to do that. No.
Well, with that in mind, I want to chat about what you do for a living, other than the kind of YouTube stuff. But cars that aren't designed for doing some of the things. You obviously get lent quite a lot of press cars, like you were talking about the Audi, and you're doing all these skids and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Well, I'm starting to wonder the same. How are these guys letting you borrow? They obviously know if you come along with a guy called Sideways Sid. Yeah, that's fine. You have a GT3. There's no worries. Don't spank it though. Okay, yeah, fine. Have you ever given a car back to a press department and they've gone, "Oh my God, we've seen the video, or we've seen. What have you done?"
Yeah, well, I try and be honest and straight, be upfront and go, look, in case you haven't seen the videos, this is what I do. This is what we're going to do. I hope you're all right with it.
Yeah.
If they go, no, we won't let you do it. Okay, cool. We'll just do it. I've done sensible reviews sometimes. And no, seriously, I won't do it. But sometimes there is a miscommunication. And they go, yeah, go on, Sid. Yeah, just as long as it comes back. As long as it comes back in one piece, we're fine about it. And then they see the video and then they just go, what the F? What's
Really?
going? Yeah. But
Which cars does that happen with?
I can say this because I've been banned from a Fiat Abarth 124 Spider.
Right.
That was the first.
So they won't let you borrow any cars anymore?
No.
Really?
That's the end, sadly.
No way. They banned you.
Well, they lent me. I don't want to be on a negative rant, but they lent me the car, which is a 124 Abarth, and then we took it to the Peak District because we thought we need to do something different. I'm pretty late to the car because the Abarth's been around for 18 months, 2 years now. So I thought we've got to do something different, talk about it being a nice B-road car. And the video was pretty sensible, but at the same time we thought, well, we'll just throw in a few skids. Just to make it exciting because, that's what I do. So we did it, and to be honest, that is one of the most sensible reviews out there. No, seriously, no rubbish. Seriously, it was good. And in the end, they got the ump. They got the right ump about it.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't like it.
Is this a car that you've just had?
Yeah. Video's going out tonight.
Is it? We might need to re-edit
the one I had?
I've got the 124 GT.
Oh, okay, cool.
The carbon hardtop one.
Oh, nice.
But I had that a few weeks back, and that's going up tonight.
I suppose a lot of these companies they want to promote sensible driving, etc., but also they're creating a sports car which should be driven in a sporty manner. Maybe not quite to your sporty degree, but nonetheless, I didn't realise you were banned, but that's funny. And I guess there's probably other manufacturers who have gone, okay, thanks for doing that.
I think they sort of just look and then they go, oh, okay, and just sort of but some of them are absolutely fine with it. They just go, look, brilliant, as long as it's legal.
Yeah,
and it's safe, and you go on a track, which I've taken cars onto track, and we do.
Yeah, great GT3 video.
Yeah, so thank you very much.
Yours.
Yeah, well, that's the highlight of this year for me was the GT3 because
Porsche GT cars are just phenomenal.
But that was phenomenal. Something that I wanted to just briefly touch on is the the whole closed road, private road, public road kind of aspect to it, because that GT3 video, it's wonderful. I've really enjoyed watching it move around a lot, and it's fantastic. But there's some lovely cinematic drone shots of you. And it's showing you going sideways on a public Welsh road, I guess, in Wales or something. Was it somewhere?
Beachy Head, it was.
Beachy Head, yeah.
Yeah.
So they are some quite. It's showing that you are going sideways and driving in a slightly hooliganistic manner on the public road. Do you ever worry about the fact that the way things are going with the police and how social media and things? Does it worry that sometimes that there might be some repercussions coming from someone watching that in the police? Maybe.
Yeah. Yes and no. Yes, in the sense of I know in my right mind you shouldn't really be doing it, but then there are thousands of publications. As I'm sure you know,
that's
who
it.
Do the same thing.
Evo showed them going sideways around the Evo triangle. There's that one bend, isn't there?
Yeah, Black Mountains Pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they are every single car they've tested there has been going sideways around that corner, and it's clearly not closed. So but it's a broader question. Is it something that's going to have to end up changing that you can't do it on the public road because the police are starting to get a bit more nervous about those things?
It's all about. You're doing it to demonstrate what the car can do. We don't want to demonstrate what people should do in the car. So
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. it's just our way of, because you're trying to make a video look good and you're trying to demonstrate what the car can do, not necessarily as in, right guys, this is what you should do with a car, go out there and do it. So, but it does worry me a little bit, because you do think, because I do get people DMing going, sending me videos of going, this is what I'm doing in a car. You just go, oh God, what am I doing? Because you're like, no, I don't want, God forbid, I don't want anybody to get hurt with the enthusiasm of going out doing what I do, because I think, I'll admit, some of the stuff I've done,
well, yeah,
it's stupid.
Yeah, you know? I'd probably agree as well, but we've all driven a bit.
Of course we are,
enthusiastically at times. But you could say the same, you know, watching Grand Tour, Top Gear, whatever, if they're out doing a road trip and all of a sudden, you know, they kind of lose the back end a bit, is that promoting bad drive or bad driving?
It all depends how fast you're going.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going sideways at 20 miles an hour, well, what's the worst that can happen?
You'll end up broadside. And
you might spin. If you hit something, it's not going to be, no one's going to die. Unless you hit a cat or something. But, you know, nothing's... It all depends on how fast you go. If you're going really silly to the point where you could just see trees turning green and it turns into like some sort of green screen.
Yeah.
It is a bit out of order, but a bit of a flick. Come on.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
There's worse stuff going on
in the world.
Yeah, there's way more worse stuff going on. You know, people. There's horrible things going on. So me doing a skid on a public road, I don't think the police would bother. At the same time, though, I wouldn't advise anyone to do it. Please don't do.
There you go. You heard it.
There we go.
Don't do this at home.
Just before we wrap up, I just wanted to talk quickly about jobs, mainly because any YouTuber, people are like, what does he do to be able to afford that? Has he got rich parents? Has his dad bought him the car? Is it his dad's car? What's he done? He's got loads of money in the bank. Sid, what is it that you do? How do you make money?
You were on CBeebies.
Yeah, we'll see for a little bit. Yeah.
So presenter.
Yeah, so I did.
I got to watch out.
Yeah, nah, don't you worry. It was all sorts. I've had so many different jobs, but the career I've always wanted to go down to was YouTube. But at the same time, you've also got to face reality.
It doesn't pay that well.
No, it doesn't pay that well at all. Unless you've got millions and millions of subscribers. So I've done all sorts, really. So I've worked for a dealership. I've taught at a school. I've done taxiing. I've done chauffeuring.
I would hate to get in the back of your car if you're a taxi
driver.
It's literally for YouTube. In the real world, I'm not really that bad.
Okay.
Done all sorts, like courier work. Done courier work the other week. For Amazon Parcels. I just do
Amazon Parcels?
Yeah, literally.
So,
So I do all sorts. Like, I try and just duck and dive on the side as well as doing YouTube. I'd want to do YouTube in the future, but then the problem is if you then settle to a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week, you've sort of just blown yourself out of the water. So I try and make myself as flexible as possible. It's not easy. It's a struggle. Hence why I do all sorts. I'm doing man and van removals at the minute. Bought myself transit the other week. Yeah.
But I suppose with that variety, it's quite interesting, isn't it? You get to meet lots of different people. You get to do lots of different things.
Yeah, it's different, and it gives you a different perspective of reality in life. And then you think, well, this is where I want to go. This is where actual people want to go. How do I try and balance the two? And it's difficult.
I think variety is key in jobs, and as you know, I suppose it's kind of the same for me. And I've got to say again, we have to say again, thank you so much to BOTB for letting us come into their lovely offices again and film this podcast. If you don't know anything about BOTB, link in the description below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're not and you're listening to this, BOTB.com. Those guys give away a dream car every single week and a lifestyle prize every single week as well. So make sure you go check them out. You never know, because it's my job to go and surprise the winners. You could be winning a car next week and have me turn up on your doorstep. That's the booby prize, me turning up. But the real prize is obviously your brand new car, and they've got 200 cars in the lineup, and you can play anywhere in the world as well. So definitely go and check BOTB out. Sid, just literally the last thing, let's just say, hypothetically, if somebody wanted to buy an amazing car they've got a budget of 80 grand, that's pushing it, and they love Porsches, or kind of any car that could potentially do a bit of sideways stuff, what would you buy?
You know what I'm going to say? GT4.
GT4?
Yeah, Cayman GT4.
Watch this space.
Do it. Just do it.
I just love the Boxer Spider. I just think it looks wicked.
The Boxer Spider is a good car, and I think in the future they'll be more special and more desirable than the GT4. But it's all personal preference.
Do you really want a convertible? I mean,
You're looking at my hair, Tim.
I don't know. Think
roof.
of the
I've got
amount of time though you'd spend messing with your hair if you drove a Boxer Spider. You spend enough time messing with your hair as it is. I mean, you'd be in this car that you're sticking straight to it. It'd end up looking like Sid's hair.
Yeah, it's just literally a mess constantly.
You need a convertible. Slaphead, best way.
Right, well, there we go. And on that note, Sid, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
hopefully,
you.
people watching and listening to this gets a little bit more of an insight into your life. Yeah. And hopefully we won't see you locked up in jail next week for saying some of the things
and hopefully
you've said.
other people as well.
Hopefully other people, yes. As we said, please do not drive the way Sid drives on any kind of public road. It is.
I'm doing this for you guys, so I'll take the hit.
Sid does it. He crashes,
he does it,
so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sid, thank you so much. Again, guys, please do go and check out botb.com. And if you haven't already subscribed to the In the Headlights YouTube channel, please do. We got loads more videos coming. Tim's already reviewed a couple of cars that are going on the channel very, very shortly, if not already by the time you watch this. So please go check out the videos. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you again very soon. Cheers for now.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.